Hello again, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chantel, and I'm going to talk about books today. I'm going to talk about a bunch of books. Today's video is going to be a sort of combination physical TBR slash haul video. The thing with me is that, one, I'm pretty bad at TBRs, and two, I also don't buy a lot of books usually. I'm not a big book buyer. I have limited money and limited shelf space, and so I don't tend to buy a ton of books. But it is January. The post-holiday thing always puts me in a mood to buy a bunch more books, because books are my favorite things to buy. I don't like to buy very much, but I do like to buy books, so I have bought a number of books lately. So this is basically the entirety of my physical TBR right now. There are a couple of books in here that I have owned for longer than a few weeks. Just two that I haven't read yet, and so that's why I'm calling this a physical TBR and kind of hybrid book haul thing. So that's where we're at. So the first ones I want to show you are just kind of haul books. They're not really TBR books because these are books that I've read a lot and are kind of beloved to me. But I did find at my local used bookstore, this is a US first edition of the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. It's in pretty good condition. It's really nice. I like it. I love the design on the cover. There's a little bit of wear and tear on the cover, but it's in really good condition. So I had to snap it up because I saw it at my local used bookshop and I was like, oh, I really want this. So this isn't really a TBR book. I've read it a bunch, I'm a big Tolkien girly. So this is just a fun little find that I found, and I think it will look particularly nice on my shelf next to the pretty new edition of The Lord of the Rings that my best friend bought me for Christmas. So I really like this. It's got the ring verse on the pages. I love the art. It includes art by the author, which is really cool. And yeah, this again, I'm a big Tolkien girly. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite books of all time, and so I'm glad to finally have this super nice edition that will look super nice on my bookshelf. So as far as my current physical TBR, I think I'm going to start with some classic titles that I've picked up recently. These are some of the books that I'm planning to read that are on my classics TBR for the year. So first of all is one that I've already started reading. This is James Baldwin's debut novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain. I just started it last night before I went to bed, so I'm only like 40 pages in. So this will probably be in my February wrap-up video. James Baldwin is one of those iconic American authors that I have just never read before, and I feel like that's a pretty egregious oversight, and so 2024 is the year I am dipping my toes into James Baldwin. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. It's a pretty short read, so it's not hard. The prose so far, again, I'm only like 40 pages in, so I don't feel comfortable saying much about it except to say that it's beautiful. It's beautifully written, so I'm gonna really enjoy this one. And then I have a couple of classic dystopian novels that I have never read. I have Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Obviously, this is the classic novel about book burning that if I read it in school, I I don't remember reading it. I'm blanking on it, so I'm gonna say I haven't, and we'll call it good. And then the other one is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This one, I'm not even sure what the premise of this is. I just know it's a classic dystopian novel I've heard of, and I don't know, I just want to give it a shot, so I'm going to give it a shot. And then I have a couple of sort of 19th century chonkers here that I've purchased. So I got this copy of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens is another author that I have just never gotten around to yet. So again, 2024 is the year that I'm gonna do some Dickens. So I'm gonna start with Great Expectations. I just really like this. I just really like this edition. I like the cover on this. It's really nice. And finally, on the classics list, I have another nice doorstopper. This is Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. This is a classic of sort of Regency fiction. It's like a satire, I think, like a social satire. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this sort of early 19th century, yeah, Regency era type fiction. This like is a nice thick doorstopper of a book, and also there's some illustrations, which is nice, but the print is tiny. So this is going to be quite a project for me in the coming up here. So that'll be fun. Next, I have a couple of books that I have actually owned for quite a while, and just I don't think I've never gotten around to them. So the first one is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by J.R.R. Martin. I'm pretty sure my friend, my best friend, read one of these stories to me once a very long time ago. So these are the Dunk and Egg novellas. It's like a prequel to A Song of Ice and Fire, starring this knight and his squire. They're called Dunk and Egg, aka Duncan the Tall and Aegon, who is a Targaryen, a secret Targaryen, and they're just really fun stories, as I recall. I don't remember much about the one that my friend read to me. It was a very long time ago, like before this volume was even published, frankly. But yeah, I bought this a couple of years ago, and I hadn't gotten around to it. It took me a while to get through Fire and Blood, and then I was like, I want to take a little break from Martin for a bit. So yeah, I just haven't gotten to it yet. So hopefully I'll be getting to this year sometime. So yeah, that's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R. Martin. And then I was watching his username on YouTube is Nicholas Vauchercourt, and he was talking about having recently read the Stacy Schiff biography of Cleopatra from like 15 years ago, and I remembered that I owned this, and I don't think I've ever read it. And I was thinking about like books that I might want to read for Historathon 2024, and I mean, this would be a good fit for the first quarter of Historathon, so I'm probably going to give this a shot. I'll try to read it by the end of March, because that's end of the first quarter. So yeah, we'll see how we go with this. Again, I've had this for a long time. I'm pretty sure I've had it since it was a pretty new book, which is probably close to 15 years. I don't remember if I bought this myself or if it was a gift, but I'm pretty sure I haven't read it. And this is another one of those where it's like, if I have read it, I've completely forgotten about it, so I might as well just say that I haven't. And then speaking of Historathon, I did also pick up another book that I think I might end up reading for Historathon, but it won't be until later in the year if I do, because this is a third quarter book. But this is The Blazing World, A New History of Revolutionary England by Jonathan Healey. And yeah, Healey's he's a professor of history at Oxford. This is kind of his magnum opus, I guess, maybe. And I'm really interested. I'm really interested in 16th and 17th century English history, so this is super up my alley. But yeah, because it's a third quarter book, I might just put it off until like July, but I do plan to read it this year. And that's if I can hold off that long, because frankly, I'm really excited to read this. I'm a history nerd. I really like this shit. So we'll see if I can even wait that long. But yeah, so that's next on my list. And then I have a few sort of continuations of series, trilogies, etc. that I'm sort of in the process of reading, and I've picked up the next book in. So first of all, as I said, I'm a big Tolkien girly, and so one of the ongoing reading projects that I've had for the past couple of years at least is that I've been working my way through the 12-volume History of Middle-earth, which is basically a manuscript history of all of Tolkien's Middle-earth writings in chronological order that was put together by his son, Christopher, after his death. And this is the next volume in that series, is the next one I have to read. The last one was the 5th volume, was The Lost Road and Other Writings. And this is The Return of the Shadow. This is particularly exciting for me because this is actually the first volume of the history of the Lord of the Rings. So this is the point in this 12-volume series where we're at the beginning of 1938, and Tolkien is sitting down to write a sequel to The Hobbit. And so this is the beginning of that, the earliest drafts of what would become The Lord of the Rings, which is especially exciting. So I'll definitely be getting to this one soon-ish. All of these are soon. And then I also picked up A Power Unbound by Freya Marske. This is the third and final book in the Last Binding trilogy. If you watched my January wrap-up video, you will be able to hear some of my thoughts on the second book in the trilogy, which is called A Restless Truth. But as I said in that video, this is gay Edwardians with magic, and they're super fun. And I'm really looking forward to finishing this and seeing if she sticks the landing, which is a big thing for me. I really appreciate it when writers can manage to stick the landing. So we'll see how we go. And then the next continuation I have is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. So this is the sequel to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which, again, if you watched my January wrap-up video, you will know that I enjoyed that one thoroughly, and I really enjoy the character of Emily, and I really enjoy her sort of love interest fellow named Bambleby. And so I'm really excited to find out what happens next to these two and their further adventures. So yeah, stay tuned for that, because I'll definitely be wanting to get to this very soon as well. But before I get to all of that, the next book that I actually have on deck is an exciting one. So I have been, sort of debating with myself as to whether or which of the big three epic fantasy series that I might want to actually start reading, between The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, and Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings. I've not read any of them, and I've been sort of thinking about if I maybe want to try to read one of them, and I think I've decided I'm going to give Robin Hobb a shot. So I've got Assassin's Apprentice here, which is, of course, the first book of the Farseer trilogy and the first book of the Realm of the Elderlings. And I'm probably going to try to get this read by the end of February. So I have this up next on deck as soon as I'm finished with Go Tell It on the Mountain, I'm going to start this one, because Leanne at Literary Diversions is doing a sort of big Realm of the Elderlings 2-year-long readathon, where starting with Assassin's Apprentice, they're going to be reading one book every 2 months. And so I thought, let's try it. If I like it, I'll continue and keep going with the series. And I feel like one of these books every 2 months is a pretty good pace, I think, for such a big series, and such a huge time commitment, because I don't want to get stuck in feeling like I need to binge read it, but I also want to make sure that I am keeping up with it and actually continuing it and not just sort of forgetting about it. So I think one book every 2 months is a pretty reasonable goal to have. Again, that's assuming I like this enough to keep going with it. I think I probably will. Everybody who talks about this series, the first thing they always say is that it's a very character-driven fantasy series, and that's it for me, right? That's always what I want, is something that's very character-driven. I don't need too much action. In fact, I think too much action can be detrimental in a lot of cases. What I want is the characters that I can care about, and the politics and the relationships and the development of characters over time. That's really what's most important to me in well, pretty much everything that I read, really. Not just in fantasy, but in everything. So this one sounds like it's the most up my alley of the sort of big 3 fantasy series. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm really looking forward to it. It should be fun. And then I have a few more books that I picked up just randomly that are the start of a new trilogy or series for me. So I picked up The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft. This seems like Nick and Nora Charles, but in like a steampunky version of like England or London, maybe. Which is super up my alley. If you don't know who Nick and Nora Charles are, they're creations of the great hard-boiled crime novelist Dashiell Hammett, who wrote the first book with them in it is called The Thin Man. It's a very famous book, and also a very famous movie that's very funny, and I love the Nick and Nora Charles dynamic of these sort of crime-solving married couple who really like love and respect each other and have really good banter with each other and have a really comfortable relationship with each other, and also have adventures and solve crimes and stuff. And that's what this sounds like, is this is about a married couple who solve crimes, but with like magic and spells and things, and some crazy stuff is going on, maybe some conspiracy stuff, some political stuff going on in here. So it sounds really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really hoping this gives Nick and Nora Charles vibes. Crossing fingers. And then the next one I picked up is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. This one was described to me as lesbian necromancers in space, and yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for lesbian necromancers in space. That's really all I need or want to know about this going into it. So definitely going to be giving this a shot. And then finally, last but certainly not least, in my sort of starting new things stack of books here, is I purchased Jade City by Fonda Lee. So this is, of course, the first novel in the Greenbones saga, which has been on my radar for a long time. I've been sort of wanting to read it for a while. It's been on my Storygraph TBR for a long time. So I just finally was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to try it. We're going to check it out. This, again, it was described to me as basically like The Godfather, but in a fantasy version of Japan, which, again, yes, please. I'm all about that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to reading this. I'm really excited to get into it. All these books I'm super excited to get into. So yeah, that is my sort of combo physical TBR / January-ish haul video. Hope you enjoyed. If you've read and liked or disliked any of these books. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite, which ones do you think I should prioritize in the next several weeks or months, and let me know what reads you've been enjoying so far in February. Yeah, thanks, and we'll see you next time. Bye!